For 48 years, Home Craft Days has been an attraction for folks from all over. Every year, the third weekend of October, we fill the air with the sounds of good old mountain music, homespun Appalachian crafts, and the aroma of down-home country cooking here on the campus of Mountain Empire Community College. But this year, due to COVID-19, we're doing Home Craft Days virtually. We hope to be back full strength next year, our 50th anniversary, with more crafts, music, and food. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy our take on Home Craft Days past, present, and future through the eyes of all the people here at MECC that love it so.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the 49th Annual Home Craft Days here at Mountain Empire Community College in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Typically, when Todd and I come out on this stage and play a fiddle tune, we're welcoming folks to the Friday night concert, that third weekend in the month of October. The campus is filled with food and people and craft, music and dance. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic of COVID-19 in the year 2020, we're not able to hold any of those fun in-person events that we typically have. But we've tried our best to put together a couple of hours worth of history, music, dance, and craft that will bring the spirit of the festival into your home.
That's right, Tyler. It might look a little bit different this year, but we're still here in spirit and still having a great time playing our music, passing along the tradition and keeping the crafts and everything alive. We hope you enjoy the show.
In 1972, Mountain Empire Community College set out on a mission to offer the mountains of Southwest Virginia an institute of higher learning and job training. The mission expanded that fall to include preserving and promoting the rich cultural crafts, music, and dance of the region. What began as a project in a folklore class taught by Roddy Moore and George Reynolds grew into a public service project that invited the public onto the campus to experience the culture in its living form. The first festival included a handful of musical acts and a dozen crafters in the upper parking lot of the college. Today, Home Craft Days draws thousands of visitors from all across the nation and the globe. The music has expanded into 2 tents, and over 150 craft and food vendors line the campus. When visiting, one can expect to shuck corn, eat soup beans and cornbread, do-si-do in a square dance, and listen to the fiddle tunes and ballads that traveled from across the world with the region's first settlers from faraway places like Europe and Africa. The festival is more than just music and crafts, though. It's a homecoming, where families can reunite on and off the stage. It's a yearly presentation of the passion and ingenuity of mountain people and the culture that lives and breathes in the region every day. While the festival has expanded, its mission remains the same: to celebrate and pass on the traditions of the Central Appalachian region to future generations. In 2005, the college's cultural programming grew to include a yearly summer camp, Mountain Music School. Festival organizer Suella Boatwright Wells and local musician Ron Short knew the importance of ensuring another generation could keep these traditions alive. And through funding from the Appalachian Regional Commission and leadership from the Crooked Road, the summer program began with roughly 30 students, but today hosts over 150 participants from across the world. Since the festival and camp's humble beginnings, the torch has been passed to a new generation of artists, including this first act, the Childress Girls. Okay, well, thank you all so much for coming and performing. You guys have been Home Craft Days staples for a while now, and just staples of Mountain Empire Community College. You all were all some of our graduates from the Mountain Music School program. So, well, we just want to help folks at home get to know you a little better. So you all are the Childress family. You want to maybe tell your names and how long each of you have been playing?
Sure, my name is Madison. I'm the oldest sister, and I've been playing for about 13 years now. I started with guitar, and I came to Mountain Music School when I was only 8 and started with mandolin and kind of stuck with it ever since. And then she kind of fell along with my footsteps and started Mountain Music School as well.
Yes, so I'm Claire, and like she said, I picked up the music about 2 to 3 years after, I guess she did, kind of just like to do it, so it was like a hobby, you know, and so yeah, I've been playing for about 10 years now.
I'm Hannah, and I've been playing for probably about 10 years. I started piano when I was 6 and started fiddle when I was 12 and kind of just started playing with them as the years went by, and it's been really fun.
I'm Sophia, and I've been playing for about 6.5 years, and they were all playing together, so I was like, I might as well join.
I am always super jealous of you all because you're a family band,
Yeah.
and I always wanted to be in a family band, so that's really great. Well, for those folks at home that might not know, Mountain Music School is our summer program here at Mountain Empire Community College. It started many years ago now to help promote traditional music and get it in the hands of youth in the region, because we were seeing this kind of downturn in young people playing. And it's been so rewarding for me, as I'm sure it has for you all too, to come to that program. But it's also been really fun because I got to know you all, like some of you taking classes with me through various things, and then Mountain Music School's always kind of churned out these little pockets of musicians. You know, one generation for a while when I was a teenager, I was here playing with folks like Jacob Tilley and Molly Slimp, and then just a couple of years later, you guys are out there making the music on your own. So, what makes you all want to play this music?
It's it reminds me of home. It's kind of stuff that our family had grown up listening to, and so we kind of heard it. And for us, it just where we play by ear, it just kind of comes naturally. It just sounds like home to us.
Yeah.
There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view. Keep on
Hey everyone, my name is Rachel Blevins and I am the Chief Ranger of Visitor Experience here at Natural Tunnel State Park. And today we are going to head over to our Wilderness Road blockhouse area. And the blockhouse serves as a replica of the John Anderson blockhouse, which was a common stopping point for hundreds of thousands of families on their way to Cumberland Gap into Kentucky. For a better life. And so today we are going to take a step back into the past and discover some of the games that young children would have played along the frontier. And so as you are watching our games, take a look and you may even discover some of these games seem familiar. And so the coolest part is the games that weren't played once over 200 years ago have been passed down through several generations of families. And these games were an important part for kids growing up, mainly because it taught them some sort of skill. So whether it was a listening or observation skill, it was a necessary quality for kids to learn, but it also was a must for survival. So crosses and knots is a common game that young children would have played on the frontier, and it is pretty common to what we would call our modern day tic-tac-toe. And so they would simply just set up an area, whether it was in a dirt area or where the grass was, and they would use sticks as the crosses and stones as the knots. Or more commonly, we're used to our X's and O's. So Game of Graces was a common game played in the 19th century, and it was a pretty simple game. All children needed was 2 sticks and a hoop, and it was essentially a game of catch. And so they would stand pretty much far apart from each other in an open area, and one would toss the hoop while the other would try to catch it on the sticks. And so once they got pretty good at that, they would add another hoop in just to challenge themselves.
Local community leader Suella Boatwright Wells grew up on Copper Creek in Scott County, Virginia. She was no stranger to the music of the mountains. As a child, she grew up hearing old-time banjo tunes picked out by her father, Scott Boatwright. She joined the college's faculty to lead efforts in retraining the region's workforce, which had suffered job losses during the bust cycles of the coal industry. In her early tenure, she was known for registering students on the hood of her car as she drove through the region's coal camps looking for those in need of job training. She would quickly become the face of cultural programming at the community college. She would move from registering students to registering craft vendors. Outside of the college, she was instrumental in helping Wise and Scott counties begin their own Junior Appalachian music programs, which would train local students after school in old-time music and dance. Her dedication to the region's youth would lead to the festival's expansion of a second music tent dedicated to the many bands and performers that graduated from Mountain Music School and neighboring Junior Appalachian music programs. In 2016, the Home Craft Days family suffered a tremendous loss when Suella lost her battle with an extended illness. Today, her spirit lives on, and her name is carried on with the local youth band she inspired, Miss Ellie's String Band.
So blind man's buff was a common game played, and what we would say is modern day tag. And so what they would do is they would pick the buff, or the person to be it, and they would be blindfolded in the center of a circle. And the others, their goal was to try to sneak up on the buff without getting tagged. And so it was a game of chance and observation, and whoever eventually got tagged by the buff was then the buff, or the it. So what we are used to as a modern day chess or checker game was originally called drafts, and that was dated to the earliest of the 12th century. And so while it's pretty much the same, there were a few different rules that they would have played during that time period and on. So our modern day board is an 8x8 square, and the drafts game would have been played on a 10x10 square. And the only other difference, other than our usual checkers game, is the pieces can move in certain directions. And so it's a little bit different, but pretty much what we play nowadays as checkers.
some of y'all are award-winning instrumentalists, right, Claire? I'm one of Claire's biggest banjo fans. She probably doesn't know that, but
I am yours too.
Oh. We can be mutual fans. So. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the competitions? You've all competed in some songwriting and some instrumental competitions over the years.
Yeah.
Us as a band, we went to Bristol.
We've been Bristol Rhythm and Roots, youth competition, Gathering the Gap, Festival of Music. We've won band a couple of times. And individual, Claire and I have won songwriting, first and second place. And Claire, I'll let you talk about where
I
you've
was
been.
actually able to go to Richmond, Virginia for the folk festival, and that was a lot of fun. I think I did that 2 years. Yeah. And then last year I actually won it, so that was super neat and fun.
That's
as well.
awesome. Well, you guys are great proof that the programming here at Mountain Empire Community College works and is valuable to the world. So, and you guys are actually progressing on. You're planning to attend East Tennessee State, correct?
Yes.
Yep. So you'll be in the bluegrass and old time country music program there, which I was really fortunate to get to go through. So you've got some great things to look
I'm really
forward to.
excited.
Don't forget to mark your calendars and join us next October the 15th, 16th, and 17th for the 50th anniversary of Home Craft Days. It's going to be a Home Craft Days that you don't want to miss. That's the third weekend of October, 2021, at Mountain Empire Community College in Big Stone Gap, Virginia.
As the leaves begin to change in Wise County, Virginia, they signal that soon the songs, stories, and sounds of dancers of regional artists fill the campus of Mountain Empire Community College. The Home Craft Days Festival was built to showcase regional artists, highlighting their talents and goods. Bringing together old-time favorites from folks like Rich Kirby, Tom Bledsoe, and John McCutcheon of Rostraw, with the country classics played by Bill McCall, along with the hard-driving bluegrass of the Peters Brothers. The range of genres are vast, but all cut from the same cloth. When Lee Sexton gets his banjo out to play a haunting ballad in his two-finger style or driving clawhammer dance tunes, the audience takes notice. George Gibson's vast banjo knowledge was always a treat for everyone in attendance. Now, thanks to him passing on their traditions to musicians like Brett Ratliff and John Haywood, who now play at the festival, his sounds are still heard loud and clear. You can hardly look out on the crowd without remembering Lee Smith coming down the way smiling ear to ear to share his gospel music on Sundays, and everyone was always eager to pull up to the table and get a heaping helping of Papa Joe Smitty singing his classic Bowl of Butter Beans. When Wayne Henderson came over from Mouth of Wilson, Virginia, it guaranteed the dancers would be lined up to clog to his fast and clear finger-picking style of fiddle tunes. The Scott County, Virginia-based band, the Home Folks, with legends like Will Keys and Lightning Joe Good, was always a must-see and a festival favorite. Finally, ending out the day remembering the sweet and tender banjo melodies played by Hobart Crabtree is always a good note to end on. A longtime friend and dedicated volunteer of Home Craft Days, Rich Kirby, has carried on the mountain music passed on to him by his grandmother, Addie Graham. Here he is with his wife, Beth Bingham of Scott County.
Well, this is a song from Ed Sturgill, who came from Appalachia, I think, although I've also heard that he came from Harlan County. And I recorded this in the 1950s, and he managed to get about 40 or 50 years of coalfield history into something under 3 minutes. He talks about the days when miners got paid in scrip and company money, got paid by the ton that they mined and not by the hour that they worked, and the company was in charge of the weighing. The Depression coming and what Roosevelt was trying to do about that, and then the Union coming in with John L. Lewis, and ended up with a commercial for joining the Union, all in something under 3 minutes. Oh, it's come on, boys, and listen what I tell of that old Depression that we all remember well. Oh, the year that it started, the year it begun, the year that it started, 1931. Enough to eat, with old rags on our backs and no shoes on our feet. We'd go to the office, got payday on our mind, and the scriptwriter says you're $1 behind. Oh, we loaded coal and we loaded it for fun. Oh, we loaded by the acre and it wasn't by the ton. We'd go to the scale house to look at our weight, and the scale boss he'd say that we dumped it all for slate. Old depression is gone, I'm glad it is gone. Year that it started 1931, and the NRA it made everything alright till the big Supreme Judge he said it wasn't right. Then Roosevelt stepped in, he were doing his best when he closed all the banks and he gave them a rest. Then he opened them up, put them back on their feet, and he says, use your pockets, boys, money can't be beat. Old depression is gone, I'm glad it is gone. Year that it started 1931, and the public said, John L., it can never be done, but somehow he won us the miners' welfare fund. So it's come on, boys, and give me your hand. Come and join the UMW if you want to be a man. Oh, you may be eating now, have a place to sleep. Won't be too long, you'll be kicked out in the street. Loaded 16 tons, and what did I get? Another day older, little more in debt. Oh, depression is gone, I'm glad it is gone. Year that it started 1931, 1931.
Well, Rich, thanks for coming to our little virtual home craft days this year.
Well, I would have been felt terrible to miss it.
I know, exactly. Do you know how many years you've been here with us?
My memory doesn't go back that far. As far as I can remember, I think I've been here I didn't hear about the first one, but I think I've been to every one since.
Yeah, so 40, this is 49 this year, so
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
a long stint you got going on there. So we had to have you today for sure.
I'm
Well,
glad to be here.
do you want to talk a little bit about how you've seen Home Craft Days evolve and kind of what it kind of means to you to be up here every year? And you've had a huge instrumental part of keeping this festival going and on the right track with the music and all that stuff. So,
Well, I sort of slid into it just by being around and being part of a bunch of young folks that were playing music and trying to learn the old stuff, and not nearly as good as we thought we were. But well, no, the thing about Home Craft Days is it was built on a really, really solid foundation. That whole year of work that Roddy Moore and George Reynolds put into,
Right.
and when they were on the staff of the college when it first opened, and ran a folk life program in a place that has some of the richest, deepest, coolest folk life
Yeah.
anywhere in America.
exactly.
And so they figured, we're not exactly teaching. We're gonna, these kids know this stuff. We're just gonna have them bring out what they know. So you all go home, and here's what folk life is. Now go home and look for it and bring it in, and we'll share it.
Yep.
And so I think there were two the first year. It was a fall and a spring.
Okay.
And that may have been true the second year as well. But people, so I guess people sometimes look at a college as something like an ivory tower on a hill or something. But here is this college that says, come on up here and bring your fiddle, or bring your apple butter kettle,
Yeah.
or plant some sorghum and cut it and bring it up here and bring your mill, and stuff like that. And so this became like the People's Festival right away. And when I started working with the music program, basically I was just kind of channeling what what people wanted to do. I mean, there were so many people that felt like Homecraft Days was just what you do on that weekend in October, and you go up there and you play. And we had tiny budgets in those years. I can remember running the whole music program on $1,000.
Yeah.
But not even enough to pay gas money sometimes. And yet the musicians, which was always who I worked with, the musicians would have been offended if they didn't get asked.
Yeah.
And almost none of that kind of jealousy that you sometimes get about, well, so-and-so got a better spot than me, or somebody's getting, for one thing, we paid everybody strictly the same. There was no like paying extra for the stars.
Yeah.
And that was part of the whole atmosphere of the thing. And we enjoyed the work of so many people. They're just if you think back on it now, I mean, we knew at the time that this was a very rich area musically, but looking back on it, we are blessed with such amazing riches
For sure.
of music, and some people just come up here, and a lot of them were people that were really not known. There were some people that were known all over the region, and but then there were some people that maybe only their neighbors had ever heard them play.
Yeah.
So it's just a really special. It's been a real privilege, over the years, and to see that. That kind of thing, kind of continuing from generation to generation as the old folks pass on, and then there are new old folks and new young folks like yourself.
Well, it's been really neat seeing some of the old videos that we're pulling up from the archives and seeing some of those first years and everything of, like the sorghum being spun off and everything like that. It's been really nice seeing the small, very small stage to no stage, to it growing to what it is today. It's been really, really good looking back and seeing all those things that, as you probably know from planning a lot of things, it's good to be reminded of where we were coming from and going in that direction. So it's been nice seeing that stuff that you've built all those years.
Thinking of you while out for a ramble down by a clear frosty stream. Sat down on a bed of hemlocks and primroses. Gently I fell into a dream. I dreamed I saw a pretty fair maiden, such beauty I'd never seen before. Her hair was bound round with hemlocks and primroses, nothing so green as the mantle she wore. Her hair it was of a light brown color, her teeth was like the ivory so white. Her eyes they shone like two sparkling diamonds, or the stars that shine on a clear frosty night. I reached for this maid, and then I awoken with two empty arms and you on my mind. Heaven seemed so near while I was a-dreamin'. It hurts me to know that you left me behind.
Tell me a little bit again about how you started doing all this.
Well, I lived up in a cabin up in the mountains, and just always been interested since I was a kid. Like a lot of kids in this area, we ran around in the woods, we built log cabins, we hunted, we fished, we trapped, and it just kind of stuck with me. I didn't really lose the interest later on. I got out just like all other teenagers, did what I was going to do as a teenager, but Later on in life, I started more settling down and started looking around and seeing the stuff, and my interest started coming back to me. I really never lost it. And so I started teaching myself, you know, after I lived up in the forest up there. I started looking around and just started teaching myself how to do all this. I was just interested in it, and I saw a dying art, you know, a way of life that people wasn't going to see no more. And it's very important that we, you know, do things like that.
Why is it important?
Well, we're coming, you know, disconnected from our past, you know, and that's where your roots are. You know, this what I do is my roots. This is from the people you know, that come out up here in the mountains that helped settle these mountains. They came back, they had to make everything they had to make. You know, everything had to be made or you didn't have it. You couldn't run out to the store. You looked around in the forest. If you needed something, you went out to the forest and you made it. Same way with the baskets, they were taught by the Native Americans to the, you know, the people here and the settlers in the mountains. If you needed iron work, you went to the blacksmith. You know, people had the old woodworking tools, the shaving horses and all. They were around for doing your own work. And everybody depended on each other. Everybody had a trade that they practiced. And mostly now we work for large corporations and things and help them succeed. Back then, people worked for the community and helped build the community up.
Why is something like Home Craft Days important?
Well, it's a chance for people like yourself and all these people you see around you get out here and see us practicing these crafts. Any other time they'd have to come to our shop, you know, and watch us do these things. And you know, if we don't get out and advertise it, they're not going to know we're up there doing it, you know. I didn't really get into it to get out and show the public. I got in because I wanted to learn it and preserve it. And then they did articles on me in papers. And then people started asking me to come out and do festivals and things, and so I started getting out doing that, and that's what's so good about people that put on festivals like this. They get a chance to come out and see these crafts being practiced, like mine, Gary's, the wood carvers, the old engines there that people used to use, the apple butter. All of that's part of our heritage around here, and it's a very important thing we need to keep alive.
I said goodbye to that plain little mining town with a few old clothes that made the round. I knew I was leaving a lot of things that were good, but I thought I'd make a break while I still could. As I look back to wave once more to Mama crying in the door for me and for what the world might have in store, 'cause she knew I'd never be her little girl no more. She was drifting back to another time when she was young and hoped to find a better life than what her mama had known. It was hard to let go of Mama's hand, my Mama's hand. hardest times made us hold our heads up high. A gift we've carried with us all our lives. We were oh so precious in Mama's eyes. As I look back down that dusty road to Mama and her heavy load, I know what I was leaving I'd never find again. It was hard to let go of Mama's hand, my Mama's hand. One old paper bag filled with hand-me-downs. Plain old country girl raised on gospel sounds. With only the love she gave me, pride in what I am. It was hard to let go of Mama's hand, my Mama's hand. Now let me turn this around here, because at some point I began to feel like what I knew about music in Southwest Virginia was beginning to get a little dated, because all the people that I thought were really great, were passing on. And there, as I said, there were a lot of young folks coming up, but I was not necessarily. I mean, if you're old, you're not going to really quite know what the young folks are really doing and thinking and feeling. So you've come into that. How does all this look to you now? Because you're now in this position of sort of looking around this region and say, okay, who is making our music now? What is our music now?
Yeah.
And so how are you?
Well, one thing that, it's really like we've always tried to do here on Home Craft Days is, pass along the tradition. So it's good to see the folks that we've, had throughout the years, to look and see if their families playing and what they're doing with their, with their family history and their past. So it's been, you try to always keep it this intimate festival that we have with the regional focus. So it's, you really have to look in those family traditions and those roots to keep it what it is.
You have trouble finding?
No, not too much. Like you say, people are always wanting to play Home Craft Days. It's such a great festival. So
yeah, I would think so.
So much so we've had to add another stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another day.
And another day.
The Friday night. Well, I think when originally it was one day.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it was Home Crafts Day.
Yeah.
And then at some point it went over into Sunday and it became Home Craft Days. And then we started the Friday night program.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course that really kind of gave the inspiration for the Mountain Music School. So
yes,
we
for
got
sure.
that going on in the summer, and the curriculum through the year that you're
semesters.
involved in.
Yeah,
so
for
much.
sure. Yeah, we have our, Tyler Hughes and I both have string band classes that we have our class come play a set, and Mountain Empire, and of course Sue Ella was really instrumental in making all the youth happen, with passing along that tradition. So
you can't say enough about how much she gave to all this over the course of many years. But I just want to say I feel like we're really lucky to have really talented, passionate young people like you and Tyler kind of driving the train these days.
Well, we love it. That's for sure. We love what we're doing. Thanks for coming today.
Well, thanks
we can't have Home Craft Days without you, so be ready next year for the 50th.
Oh boy.
That's a big one.
Well, I guess I will start feeling old at that point.
No, you'll always be in the end. Well, thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yes, I did.
Well, those are kind of handsome. I kind of like those little banjo pickers, sir.
They're made with the apple heads
Uh-huh.
with corn shuck bodies.
Uh-huh. Those are kind of cute.
And they last indefinitely. The colors are put on with chemical dyes that you dye material with.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been making them?
About 15 years.
15 years. How did you get into it?
Well, I just picked it up. I wanted something I could do with. I wouldn't have to leave my children, you know, instead of going on a job, and I just started making them.
Mm-hmm. Do you sell them?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I sell them to gift shops, tourist shops, and well, most of them goes to Skyline Drive and places like that.
Uh-huh.
On the Parkway.
Right.
They seem to be real popular.
Well, I'd say they would. They're kind of handsome.
Mm-hmm.
What's your name, ma'am?
Gaynell Marshall. I live on Sandy Ridge on the other side of Coburn.
Do you? Do you go to many of these types of old...
Well, no, I don't go to too many because I have 2 children and I stay at home and work. But we usually have one from our crafts group in Coburn. And then this one is the only ones I go to.
What's the name of the group?
It's Ridge Handicrafters. It's a part of the Southern Highlands Handicraft Guild.
Ah, I see.
You have to pass a rigorous standards committee to become part of that. You have to really be good, in other words, before they'll accept you.
Oh, that's very interesting.
We have about 35 members that work in different categories.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of things do people do, let's say, aside from corn shuck dolls? Or do you
Stuffed dolls, and my son makes the baskets. He's 14 years old.
Is that right?
And the rag rugs,
mm-hmm.
and quilting, and candles, and just different things, stuffed dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything, mostly in the crafts line, you know, the weaving and woodworking and all that, you know. It's really become popular again. It used to be, you know, it kind of went out a while. People didn't care too much for handmade things. They wanted something that was store-bought. But now people have gotten to they really like the handmade things.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because that people are getting more back to nature. You know, they want to go back to the old things, and the handmade things are really quality things. They're put together a whole lot better than the store-bought things are. You know.
That's a fact.
Each thing is made, you know, by itself, so it gets special attention. You know, instead of being made by a machine that makes thousands just like it. You know.
Right. Well. We're having a good time looking at all this stuff, and thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
Homecraft Days just wouldn't be the same without the traditions of the Carter family. Today, the family's music lives on with one of our staple performers and A.P. Carter's grandson, Dale Jett, and his band, Hello Stranger.
Time's falling on a summer lee and the supper's getting cold. Second time in as many weeks that he hasn't shown. Probably chasing some old steer across some prairie storm. When she asks, he'll just smile and say that that's the way things go. He only gets into town twice a month and he gets out as fast as he can. Don't have a phone so she can't call him up and she never knows where he is. Smells like horses and he chews tobacco and he cusses and he spits. She's been in love a couple of times before, but never quite like this. Next month it'll be those damned old rodeos and fairs. He'll be gone for 6 weeks straight, to God only knows where. Won't win any money, and what's worse than that, he won't care. When she asks, he'll just smile and say they had a real good time out there. He only gets into town twice a month and he gets out as fast as he can. Don't have a phone so she can't call him up and she never knows where he is. He smells like horses and he chews tobacco and he cusses and he spits. She's been in love a couple of times before, but never quite like this. Stops his horse to get a light and the water pours off his hat. Out in the rain for most of the night and he ought to be getting back. Thinking about the color of her hair and the touch of her hand and the way she quietly smiles whenever she looks at him. He only gets into town twice a month and he gets out as fast as he can. Don't have a phone so he can't call her up and he never knows where she is. She smells like flowers and perfume and tobacco and gin. And he's been in love a couple of times before, but never quite like this. And he's been in love a couple of times before, but never quite like this. He's been in love a couple of times before, but never quite like this. Thank y'all.
Don't forget to mark your calendars and join us next October the 15th, 16th, and 17th for the 50th anniversary of Home Craft Days. It's going to be a Home Craft Days that you don't want to miss. That's the third weekend of October, 2021, at Mountain Empire Community College in Big Stone Gap, Virginia.
It becomes evident the moment you walk onto the campus of Mountain Empire Community College during the Home Craft Days Festival that the passing of family heritage and regional culture has always been the main focus of the festival throughout the years. Sitting under the music tent, hearing the songs and notes of festival performers is like taking a step back in time to hear generations that came before us, proving Homecraft Day's importance. When you hear Martha and Kilby Spencer matching note for note of their father, Thornton Spencer's fiddle tunes, we're relieved to know that White Top Mountain sound will not soon be forgotten. Or myself, Todd Mead, and my family playing fiddle tunes passed down from my great-grandfather, Uncle Charlie Osborne, who played at the festival for many years before me. The songs of the Carter family fill the campus, sung by Dale Jett, that his beloved mother, Jeanette Carter, taught him, bringing back memories of Jeanette's performances at the festival that we will forever hold dear. You can't mention the Carter family without being reminded of the sweet harmonies of the Sheets family, only possible by those family ties we're so lucky to showcase here. The spirit of past generations live on within us, and they continue to thrive as we pass their knowledge and crafts on the generations to come, making the ties that bind us together more important as time passes to preserve and protect our history. The festival itself is a reunion of such that has become a family all of its own, and that's exactly why we knew some form of the festival had to take place this year. While the world certainly feels chaotic, we know the memories of Homecraft Days past and the excitement of next year's 50th anniversary will give us comfort and knowledge that just like the traditions we pass on each year, our community will persevere and will be back on the campus next October. The old-time music of the mountains was thrown into overdrive when Kentucky musician Bill Monroe first delivered his signature sound of bluegrass music on the Grand Ole Opry in 1945. Bluegrass has been a staple of the festival since its inception. Today, local musician and Mountain Empire Community College faculty member Eric McMurray carries on the hard-driving sound with his band, Eric McMurray and Friends.
remember when we first started, I think, I actually was living at home again with Mom and Dad, and we made a lot that year. I mean, like batches and batches, and I was just like wore out, but it was fun. I think that Daddy went to Churchill and bought this vat special, because sometimes people were making it in stuff that was a lot rougher, but this has held up for what, 40 years.
Almost 40 years.
Our parents, of course, did this growing up, and then that was just something that they basically knew how to do, but they've kind of refined the process through the years, although we could have made it more mechanized, but we've not. We've just kind of done it like we've always done it. It's one of my favorite things that our family does, actually, even though it's a lot of hard work.
Well, my name's Jan Harbor, and I'm one of the Jones sisters. I think we bought this vat in 1981, which was a year after I was married and moved away from home. But I have continued to come and work every year, and as Judy says, it's the highlight of our fall, really. It's just something that we keep going. We don't do it on the scale that we used to do. We used to sell a lot. Everybody wanted molasses because not that many people in the area makes molasses. But it's just a fun thing to do. And today's been some reminiscing for me to come back to the farm and think about Mom and Dad, who have been gone for several years. But it's a tradition, and one that I guess they passed on to us, and then my children come. My son's here at the vat today working, and his wife. But we're just thankful that we can come together as a family. And several years ago, it was more of a community thing. A lot of people came from the community and would stop by for short amounts of time. But the weather today is not that good, but we're making the best of it.
Right, we would have tractor wagons and have food, and people would come by and stay all day or just come and go and eat. And we tried to have music and just made a real festive time of it.
All right, Eric, well, thanks for being here today, buddy. You guys sounded really good.
Well, thank you
Eric
very much.
McMurray and friends, we are glad to have you back this year.
Yes, glad to be here and appreciate you asking, and I always love being a part of Home Craft Days. I've been able to do it, with different groups over the years and different combinations, but for the last several years, but it's one of my favorite events to be a part of each year. So I will always look forward to it.
Good.
The one thing I do miss this year is that, we've not had the nice little food and vendors and things. That's always been a big part of the tradition for the many years it's been going on. And so I guess that's the one thing that we do miss this year, but at least it's we get an opportunity to have a chance to share some music. And
that's right.
A lot of good music in this region, so I'm glad to be a part of it. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And give us a lot to look forward to, hopefully next year.
Yes, it sure will. It sure will.
Yeah.
Each day I'll do the golden deed, by helping those who are in need. My life on earth is but a span, so I'll do the best I can. I've seen the sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deeds that I have done, where there will be no setting sun. To be a child of God each day, my life would shine along the way.
my seeming sun.
It's sinking low.
It's sinking low.
A few more days.
A few more days.
And I must go.
And I must go to meet the deeds that I have done. That I have done.
Where there will be.
Where there will be no setting sun.
While going down.
I'm going down.
Life's weary road.
Life's weary road.
I'll try to live.
I'll try to live.
Some traveler's love.
Some traveler's love.
I'll try to turn.
I'll try to turn
the night today.
the night today.
Make flowers bloom.
Make flowers bloom along the way.
Life's evening sun.
Life's evening sun.
It's sinking low.
It's sinking low.
A few more days.
A few more days.
And I must go.
And I must go
to meet the deeds that I have done.
that I have done.
Where there will be.
Where there will be no setting sun.
Life's evening sun.
Life's evening sun.
It's sinking low.
It's sinking low.
A few more days.
A few more days.
And I must go.
And I must go
to meet the deeds that I have done.
that I have done.
Where there will be.
Where there will be no setting sun.
Where there will be.
Where there will be no setting sun.
Well, it's kind of a long story. I've always wanted to carve wood. I saw some carvings when I was young that just I fell in love with.
I've been carving wood probably about 5 to 7 years, roundabout. Yep, not long at all. But some people may think that's a long time, but to me it's not long at all. Yeah. Never carved before, just, piddling around with a pocket knife and that kind of thing, like little boys do in the woods, but nothing making anything, just making chips. But the Mountain Tradition wood carvers here in Big Stone has really enhanced my knowledge of wood carving. And these experienced carvers got me in there and got me some good tools and started working right and learning the techniques and playing around. Now I'm doing a little bit of everything.
He said, Robert Ledford, what are you going to do when you retire? I said, well, I really don't know. He said, why don't you come down to our carving shop, which was in Norton, down at the YMCA. And so he invited me, and so I showed up on that Thursday night, and all the guys were there. I never had been around wood carvers before. So when I got there, they said, hey, how you doing? And I said, I'm doing very well. They said, you want to wood carve? I said, I would like to learn.
Becky, how long have you been carving wood?
Probably just about 3 months.
Really?
I just got started.
So did you get started with this group?
I did. I just came to visit them one night to see their work because I admire it. Because I've done woodworking for years. Took 5 years of woodworking in books. So wood is, I love wood. So I wanted to see their work and just hooked me the first night. Yes, they just kind of turn you loose and tell you should got to develop a vision somewhat, and they help you when you need help. So yes, but it's a good bunch of people.
I wanted to see what they were doing, and I enjoyed it. I saw some little bears there, and I told my wife I've got to learn how to carve a bear. They invited me to come to one of their meetings, and I went. The little lady that was there, Lila, she met me at the door. She said, "Sit down and start carving." I said, "I don't have any knives or anything." She goes up and gets a blank of a Santa's face. Takes me back there and sits me down beside Mr. Jim Wood. She said, "Here, Jim, teach him what he needs to know."
We began to work in our local community here to bring the interest in carving to the community, and it's been a very successful, I would say, endeavor on our part. The club is doing very well. We've got some excellent, talented people working here, and we encourage anyone in the area that may have an interest to stop by, visit with us, be with us. We have folks that have been carving for 2 months and folks that have been carving for 20 years. So it's a varied group, a varied interest of the different styles of carving, and just a wealth of information that all of the group here just love to share.
I'll sit you in the shade with a shovel and a spade. I'll stand you to that brown coal mine. Oh, Ruby, Ruby, honey, are you mad at your band? I've done all I can do to get along with you. Still, you're not satisfied. Oh, Ruby, Ruby, honey, are you mad at your band? If you don't believe I'm right, just follow me tonight. I'll take you to my shanty so cold. Oh, Ruby, Ruby, honey, are you mad
Like cornbread is to soup beans, dance is to old-time mountain music. When the fiddler draws his bow across the strings, it's sure to get the attention of the dedicated cloggers and flatfoot dancers that attend Home Craft Days each October. Since the festival's beginning, the traditional styles of mountain dance have always been on display. Appalachian dance, much like the region's music, is a culmination of steps from the various cultures that found home in the Appalachian Mountains. Dancing has always been an instrumental part of mountain culture. It's an opportunity to express oneself, and community square dances serve as a place to swap news, connect with neighbors and friends, and an opportunity for courtship for young lovers. Like many of the traditions of the Appalachian Mountains, dance is a family affair. Every October, Valisa Stallard brings her clogging troupe, the Center Stage Cloggers, from Coburn, Virginia, to spank the planks of the dance floor to the classic fiddle tunes played by the region's many fiddlers and string bands. All right, well, thank you guys for coming and being part of today's virtual Home Craft Days. It's always one of my favorite things to get to play for the dancers that come to Home Craft Days.
Oh, we love you, Tyler.
Well, I love you guys. We all do. It brings so much excitement to have clogging teams and square dances under the big tent up here at the college. And we're so glad that you guys could be part of today. Obviously, we've had dance here as part of the festival since the beginning. It's such an important part of the Appalachian arts that we're all working to keep going here. So I wanted to get a little more information about you all so that folks at home could learn a little bit more. How did you come to start the Center Stage Cloggers, and how long have you all been dancing?
The Center Stage Cloggers, I actually formed the team in 2000 when a friend of mine had asked me to teach her daughter how to clog, and I had been clogging. Well, today makes 40 years that I've been involved in clogging and teaching dance. And so I started with one little girl, and it expanded and grew, and I have been able to teach parents with their children, grandparents with their children and grandchildren, aunts and sisters and nieces and friends, that we have just become one big family, and we get to travel several places and do our thing. We dance for different occasions, and it's something that I can say that we definitely enjoy.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed all the performances and craft demonstrations, the stories, and the interviews that we've been able to share with you this year for Home Craft Days. We want to say a special thank you to all the staff, faculty, and volunteers here at Mountain Empire Community College, especially Dr. Mike Gilley, Dr. Vicki Ratliff, and Alan Maggard, and the whole team of Home Craft Days who worked so hard to put on this virtual event for you. And while we miss seeing you here on the campus, we're so excited to invite you back here next year for the 50th anniversary of Home Craft Days. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep on the sunny side.
Get your fill. If you wanna get your head knocked off, climb old Sugar Hill. Well, if I had no mule to ride, I'd be found walking up and down on Toenail Gap, just hear that gal talking. If you wanna get your eye knocked out, if you wanna get your bill, if you wanna get your head knocked off, climb on Sugar Hill.